Good morning. Hand today is going to be pocket eights. In this hand, we have early position raiser limps. Let's take a look at it. Well, he limps, I ISO, folds around, and he calls. So we only have 17 hands on him. He's playing 53-29, so playing about half of his hands. The only thing we could say is he limp and calls a raise with these three hands: Ace Jack, King 9, and Queen 10. So Ace Jack, King 9, Queen 10. If he has any of those, they're going to be calling better, better hands than that. So I kind of put together this range where he's got those offsuits. I think probably the offsuit aces. He's probably limping with aces. I think these offsuit connectors are one gappers, some suited connectors, one gappers. I think some two gappers here, suited aces, suited kings, pocket pairs. I think those are probably all just gonna limp. My ISO range, we've got always an optional. I chose to raise here to try to get heads up. Not sure if that's what I was thinking of, but definitely I think this is a spot where we can raise, get people to fold, and just get heads up against a player that has a fairly wide range. So then question is, does he fold any of these hands? I'm going to say no. If he's limping these hands, he's calling to see what he can flop. So we go to a flop, and it's Jack Jack 8, which is a great flop for us. If we were out of position, I'd probably think about checking here with full house. I might lean more towards betting in this case, just because we're hoping villain has a jack. Because if Jack's gonna pay us off, we're gonna get 3 streets of value with a jack. If they don't have anything, maybe we get 1 street. That's about it. They're gonna be cautious. If they have 9-10 and a queen comes, they're gonna be cautious. They're not gonna. They probably won't invest their entire stack on that hand because they're aware of that full house. But if they have a jack, I think even though it's not as good as a straight, I think they're gonna probably call. He checks. I think he probably checks everything, and I think here we're going to be probably checking the quads. We can see his fold to C bet stats actually pretty low. I think we're probably, so we're not betting quads. I think we could possibly, well, again, we can bet or we can check. GTO, I'm not sure what GTO would say for us. I was kind of leaning towards that bet with the 8s because we're checking quads. I think we bet the 8s. 3 of a kind, I think we bet Ace Jack and leave like King Jack, Queen Jack, Jack 10 for checks. I kind of feel like we check the overpairs and the pocket pair below the top cards. Maybe we're gonna undo those because we're gonna see what our betting situation looks like. So right now it looks like we're betting 4%. So with 4%, I think we're gonna probably include these open enders and these gut shots maybe as our bluffing range. That's pretty good, and I think that's just the betting, and then we have the checking range. So our range is going to be pretty tight. Villain's going to call here because we go to showdown, and I'm going to give him all of that 3 of a kind plus. I'm going to give him. He doesn't like the fold, so I'm going to say any pair, any draw, and maybe even overcards. Maybe even overcards. It's just scale. I'd say 50-50 that he has those overcards. All right, Jack comes out. Oh, and that's just brutal. That's just brutal. He does connect. He checks. Question now: if I bet, what's he gonna call with? We basically just have jacks full of eights. We had eights full of jacks, which in a way our hand improved, but in a big way our hand got worse. Our hand got worse. So I think if we bet, he's gonna call the quads. He's gonna call all of those. Question is, what value are we gonna get? I do think we're gonna be getting all of these hands. So we block a lot of the eights, which means he probably doesn't have these eights. I'm going to say that. Let's take those out and say he probably doesn't have the eights. And we could take that. We can eliminate those too, just to see how that has an effect. There you go. Drops it down to 12.57% over 50. So yeah, we know he can't have those. Yeah, I would go any pair, and maybe even ace high. Don't know if he would call with the flush draw or open ender. I think most players are just, they wouldn't. So he checks, and that's kind of what I'm putting him on, and then it's on us. I do think we probably bet quads again. Because we had ace jack in our betting range, I do think we probably bet those, but I think we're probably checking everything else. Our full houses are just going to be really weak. And that means we're going to probably use one of these just for maybe like the 10-9. Let's exclude those. Oh, we'll include them. One of these we're probably not going to be playing. That's probably it. Just that hand, just to balance ace jack. So that's our checking range. 7 comes out. Villain checks again. I think the only reason we would check is, or we would bet, is if we had maybe a higher pair. But again, we don't. I think we check on this flop. So at this point, I think he's got a wide range. Yeah, we're both gonna have full houses. Well, he's gonna have a high percentage full houses in his hand. I don't have as many. So when he checks, I could eliminate quads. I would assume quads would bet, and I would assume some of our better full houses would bet. Maybe 10s and 9s might bet. I mean, he is passive. But we go to a showdown, he shows queen 10. Does he have that in there? Yeah, I do. I actually have that nothing in there. So we included it because we knew that he played some of those hands. We do want to take a note here. So we can see how he played. I think on this hand it was just unfortunate. It was just unfortunate that the board ran out. So limp and called ice. Let's see here. We did 5 big blind ISO in under the gun with queen of clubs, 10 of spades. Can't remember what I bet. Half pot. So check call 50%. Check on a jack of clubs, jack of hearts, 8 of spades, jack of spades, and 7 of spades. Yeah, so I think it's just unfortunate. We got the same, kind of had him in. it's a small number of hands. Question is, if we bet the turn, does he call? I don't think so. I think that this is one of those hands that he just folds. So we got our one street value. I'm glad we bet that. Probably need to consider betting a bit more versus this range. We'll have to see. Right now, I'm not looking at GTO with ISO ranges, but I think with the massive amount of hands here, we probably are supposed to be betting more, which means we go back to the flop. We're probably betting our jacks. We're probably betting our eights. We're probably betting some of these big pocket pairs, just because he's got so many hands that he's going to have to dump. And that means we're going to be betting a lot of junk hands too. Hands that miss, a lot of draws, semi-bluffs, gut shots, backdoor straight, some backdoor straights that have some backdoor, or backdoor flushes that have some backdoor straight draws, and so forth. All right, this wasn't too long. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.